everyone. My name is Jim Maughan, and I'm going to be doing the majority of the demonstration today. I also have Connell Wilson with us. Connell's one of our young technical people, and he's going to be helping with the demonstration as well, and also trying to keep me on track here. But we've got a great group of people that are signing in and have registered. We've got people from our customers, our partners, Infor, and people that are new to Syteline. I want to thank everybody for filling out that questionnaire because it gives us a little bit of an understanding of kind of where you're coming from in terms of how long you've been using Syteline and CSI and all of that. So again, what we're going to be talking about is the new Cyberquery AI engine for CSI and Syteline. As we go through the session today, we can't hear questions, but you can enter questions in the dialogue through Zoom, and we'll try to answer those as best we can as we go along. So what I'd like to do with this webinar is just find out, where is your company on your AI journey? Now, I actually took that question and submitted to AI and asked for some responses. And so AI came back and said, well, here are 5 options that people can select from. No plans. We haven't bought the car yet. Number 2, working on it, but the car's still in the driveway. Number 3, looking forward or moving forward, but still in the neighborhood. Number 3, gaining traction, or number 4, gaining traction. We're on the highway. And number 5, approaching our final destination. And we're really kind of interested in seeing, what that's going to, in terms of the audience, what people, where people are in their journey. So I've actually prepared a little quiz, or not a quiz, but this journey. Hopefully you see on your screen a poll. And we're going to give you about 30 seconds to fill in that poll, just to find out, again, where people are coming from. And at the end of the poll, we're going to, we'll share the responses from everybody so people can kind of feel exactly where people are. So great. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of responses here. Okay, so I'm going to end it, and then I will share the results. It looks like, most of the people, 50%, are working on it, but the car's still in the driveway. So I'm hoping everybody can see that. We've got 14% that say no plans, 50% working on it, 21% moving forward, but still in the neighborhood, and 14% say they're on the highway. So that's great. And not surprisingly, nobody said they've reached the final destination. So that's great. That gives us a good feel for where we're going. Perfect. Okay. So back here in the PowerPoint slides, and let me hide that bar again. What we want to do is we're going to kind of go through here. Here's the agenda for today. We're going to talk about why AI, especially why AI when it comes to Cyberquery and CSI and building reports and accessing CSI or Syteline data. We're going to talk about the Cyberquery AI architecture and why it's so unique and why it's so well suited for AI. We'll spend most of our time just showing you the software, again, running against a Syteline CSI database. And then we'll go into next steps. And really, next steps are pretty simple. If you like what you see in the demo and you're curious, at the end of this webinar, there's going to be a questionnaire or survey. Fill out that survey, and you can say, hey, send me the free evaluation copy of Cyberquery. We'll send you a free evaluation copy. We'll help you install it, build some queries, give you some basic training, and then go wait. You play with the software, and if you like it, you keep it. If you don't like it, send it back to us, all at no cost. So really pretty, non-threatening next step. You can also request a link to the recording, the PowerPoint slides, anything you want. So again, try to make this easy, but do stick around to fill out that survey. And if you don't have time, reach out to me directly, and we'll get you the information you want. So, okay, number 1, why AI? What are the questions answered by the CQ AI engine? The thing that we found with a lot of really, basic end users is they don't know where to start. So CQAI gives them that place to start. So a user comes in and just says, show me revenue by year. And the AI engine is going to figure out where to go to get revenue and break it down by year. And again, depending on your setup, it may break it down by calendar, may break it down by fiscal year. But again, AI is going to make it super simple for the basic user to go in and start querying, accessing the data. Number two, and this one's a big one, especially for the IT people. So rather than having every user building brand new queries through the AI engine every time they sit down, this is going to let them go out there and look and see if there are existing reports that do what they need. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can pick existing reports that do what you need or are close to what you need and start with those. Number three, can I build my report using English? And the answer is yes. So with the AI engine, people just talk to their browser and say, show me an efficiency report, or show me a bill of material report, or show me an AR agent report. They don't even have to be able to type. And I'll show you that as we go along. Okay, well, the system support all the calculations that I need. The great thing about the CQAI environment, it's built on top of the very powerful Cyberquery engine. So you get unlimited number of queries, joins, selection criteria. You can make these AI queries and reports and charts and dashboards as complex as you may want. And we'll show you that as we go along. Will my results be accurate? And that's really the key when it comes to AI with Cyberquery. We let you slice and dice and drill down through the data to confirm the accuracy of any query that the AI engine generates. Interesting study from MIT. MIT went out and studied AI, and they found that AI models use 34% more confident language when generating incorrect information than when generating correct information. Another way of saying it, the more wrong the AI engine is, the more certain it sounds. So again, with Cyberquery AI, we want to make sure everything is accurate. So we like to say AI, but verify. And that's, again, what Cyberquery lets you do, because you can generate your query, generate your data, and then drill down, slice and dice, make sure that it does check and cross-check with what you need. So we want to keep the good, the ease of use, the speed, the availability, but then we want to add power, accuracy, reliability, repeatability. So again, if you've got a query you generate, you can now schedule this to run every morning at 3 a.m. Security. A lot of our customers are DoD and aerospace contractors. They do not want any of the information out there on the web. So security is a very big piece for us. So you can share as much or as little as you want in terms of actual data. And then finally, cost effectiveness. We want to make sure that this is usable by everybody and is not going to be prohibitively costly. So those are really the marching orders we have when it comes to developing the Cyberquery AI. Okay, here's the architecture between Cyberquery's AI engine. Over here on the left, you have your consumers, your users. So it might be an executive with a whole bunch of questions. The user may be an information user who wants to see repeatable information every day or every month or every week. The user may be an IT person who wants to control security and who can access what and performance and issues like that. So Cyberquery is designed with all these users in mind, and then being able to access any data source. So the data can be coming from CSI or Syteline. It might be an ancillary system like CPQ or InfoCRM. It could be, Lake Company data. It could be coming from any information you want. So it's not limited to CSI or Syteline. Again, any data, including cloud application data. So you may have Salesforce, or you may have payroll systems or whatever. Cyberquery can access all that data through the Cyberquery AI engine. So the whole idea behind the Cyberquery AI engine is to bridge the gap between your consumers and your data sources. And now specifically, how do we do that? So again, the CQ AI engine is built on top of the Cyberquery engine, which again is super powerful and yet very easy to use. It has a complete drag and drop environment as well as a underlying 4GL. And people that know AI know that AI works very closely with anything that's got a 4GL. And Cyberquery's 4GL is very high level, very English-like. But again, the AI engine can generate that, uh, those queries very, very completely with the CQ engine. Second piece is the CQ data dictionary. The CQ data dictionary understands your environment for CSI or Syteline. That dictionary gets built at your location. So it picks up all your custom tables, all your custom fields. And again, it knows that. So coupling the engine with the dictionary and then adding a third component, which we call CQ starting points, which are, a collection of Cyberquery reports and dashboards we've written over the years. So over the years, we've written thousands of Cyberquery reports for Syteline and CSI. We've taken the best of the best and we made these into what we call CQ starting points. So again, when a user goes in and says, create a bill of material, the system can go out and say, hey, I found 4 or 5 starting points. Do you want to look at these or do you want to build something from scratch? They can build from scratch or they can pick one of those starting points. But again, it just makes it, so users don't have to reinvent the wheel. Also allows you to add to these starting points. So if you've got a report that's specific to your organization that you want to bring into that starting point library, you can. So again, it's not limited to just what we have. And as you see, we're on our own AI journey. The product's growing and being enhanced all the time, and it's learning. So as more and more people use the software, the engine's going to learn and grow and expand. So again, we're all on a journey together. Okay. I'm going to go through a series of screenshots just showing what the product's going to look like. So as you go into the Cyberquery engine, you're going to click on, it's going to say show AI assistant. We used to call it chatbot, but if I slip up, that should say AI engine or assistant. You're going to go in there, click on that, and the system's going to take you to a screen that looks something like this, where you've got your conversation history over on the left. And I can go back, in history and grab a conversation I was having with the AI engine and start there. Or I can come in here and ask the engine about things like, generating queries or what's the language look like or what do I have in my data dictionary. In my case, I'm going to come down here and just type right into my dialogue to the AI assistant and say, hey, show me an AR agent report as of January 1, 2018. I click enter. The system goes out there and says, okay, do you want to look at starting points? I'll say, yeah, let me look at starting points. So I click on starting points. It shows me several reports. I highlight the one that I want to use. I come down here, click this little button down here that says use starting points, and I click run. System goes out there. And now that quickly, I've generated an AR agent report as of a specific date. I can say, great, I'm done. Or I can go back to the AI engine and say, add a column for state or do this or remove that. But again, I can interact with the engine, off of existing reports, off of existing starting points, or I can build a new one. I'm going to say, let's build a new one. So I started a new conversation and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, show me total extended value of customer orders by item. Again, I could go in and look for starting points, but in this case, I'm going to say, I want to create a new query. I'm going to come down here. Now, notice there's a couple tabs. There's query and summary. If I click on summary, it gives me an English-like description of what the AI engine is going to do. I'll say, great, and I can click run, or I can go up here and I can click query, and it's going to actually show me the 4GL that is generated to build this query report for me. I can take that query and run it, or I can, come down here and look at all the logic that the AI engine's gone through to build that query. In my case, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say run. So I ran the report and you can see the report over here in the right part of the screen. Now what I'm going to do is I could, go over here and I'm going to click this button that says, well, I'm in the assistant right now. I'm going to click the option button. The option actually takes me directly into Cyberquery. And now I can go into Cyberquery and say, hey, I want to add description. So I type in DESC right there in that search engine. It says, hey, here are all the tables that have the word description in there someplace. I'm going to say, I want to use this item master. And I just click and drag it into my report. And now I've got description next to my item. But I can bounce back and forth between my AI environment. And if I can go back to my assistant, so I can jump back and forth between Cyberquery and my AI assistant. I've gone back to the assistant now, and I've typed in a little bit more information up here at the top. And you can tell I've kind of hidden my history. I can open the history by clicking that little arrow if I want to. But in my case, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to say, show top 10 customers by extended value and collapse on customer name. I can go ahead and run, but I like this little plus and minus sign that you see right there being highlighted. That plus and minus sign says, hey, before I run this, show me what's been added in green or show me what's been removed in red. In this case, it's just added pieces, but I'll say, okay, great, that looks good, run it. And now here's my report. Now these collapses are these little arrows you see on the left side of the screen. So I've expanded Precision Bicycle just to see the items that they've bought. And I can do that with any of these arrows. But again, the AI engine has generated this report for me that easily. Okay, I'm going to go in back to my AI engine or my assistant. I'm going to say remove item and description and display the report as a pie chart. So I'll say, great. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click that plus and minus sign again. So you'll see in red what was removed and in green what's been added. So it's changed it from a sum report to a plot. I'm going to do it as a pie. I click my little, I could click run again, or I can also just say, hey, I've already got the records. Just refresh the report. That kind of recycle button says refresh from records in memory. But I could also come in here and say, hey, I want to copy this query to my paste buffer, or I want to tell the AI engine, good job. So if I click on that smiley face, that's telling the system, good job. If I click on the frowny face, it's say, hey, engine, this isn't quite what I expected or what I wanted. I can also tell the AI assistant to regenerate the report, or I can click on that little dictionary looking thing to say, I want to add some information to the dictionary, the encyclopedia the AI engine uses to build the report. So I can use all that. In my case, I'm just going to say recycle. I'm not going to worry about new conversations or show this conversation. So again, I go click, and now I've got my data shown as a pie chart, which I asked for. I can now come in and go into the AI engine and add links to drill down or whatever I want. But what I'm going to do now is let's actually go out live and show you what the system is going to look like. So I am going to get out of PowerPoint for a second. I'm going to jump over here to my browser. I'm going to maximize my browser. So I'm in the AI engine. So I've just gone in. I've said, show my assistant. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to my system. And I'm going to just click on the microphone. Show me a bill of material report. Okay, goes out there, takes what I've spoken into my browser. It says, okay, do you want to create something from scratch or go on starting points? Now, remember, we're running this live, so I'm going to click starting points. It shows me, looks like I've got three different bill of material reports. So kind of like this one. I'm going to highlight that one. I'll say use this starting point. It goes out there, runs that query, and it says, okay, which item do you want or which site do you want to reference? I can click my little drop-down list to show my different sites. I can have multiple sites. I can have additional help text. I'm just going to say run. Goes out there, runs the report, and I'm going to maximize that report just so you can see. So here's my bill of material report that's been generated via that AI engine. So I've got my level 0, my level 1, 2, 3s. You can scroll around and see all of this. I can now take this report and I can dump it into Excel. I can write it out as an HTML document, put it in PDF, send it out as a comma separated value file. But again, I can play with it here at the Cyberquery environment, or I can go back to AI and say, hey, bring in product code or show me this or show me that. I'm going to hit my space bar and we'll kind of go back and kind of see. So again, the way the system's working is over here on the left, I've got, here's my history. Let's shrink that history. And then here's kind of what's going on in the report. Uh, and I'll kind of maximize that again. And so there's my report. I can say, great, we're done. Let's start a new conversation. It says, do you want to save this? I'm going to say no. Let's go out here. What the engine's asked me, what can I do? I'm going to just type in here, show me my total current backlog by item. Hit enter. Now the system goes out, and again, it's going to come back and say, hey, I've got some reports that are close. Do you want to look at those starting points, or do you want to build something from scratch? I'm going to say, let's create a brand new query from scratch. And you can kind of read what's going on. And by the way, we can, show less, show more. I'm kind of, showing you everything that the engine's generating. But it goes through here, looks at the various tables to start with, and comes back, and it's going to show me. So it's got to go out there and figure out what we mean by backlog, current, terms like that. Again, the AI engine is great at doing that kind of stuff. It's also using some of my information to say, okay, show this as 2 decimal places, picking up the final information, and let's see what we get here. Okay, so it's figuring out this pieces. Okay, I'm going to say, I kind of look at that code. So, hey, it looks good. Let's just run it and see what it looks like. I want to click on the runner, and here's my report. So it's showing, item, backlog quantity, backlog value. I said, okay, that's good, but oh, you know what? I don't want to see it by item. I'm going to change this. I'm going to say, I'll say show customer name in place of item. Hit enter. Okay, so there's little queries going back to the AI engine now. And while it's thinking, I do see a question came in that said, which AI engine are we using? We're using, back on the back end, we're using Gemini through Google. So, and here's another question about, will this work with Syteline on-prem? Yes, as a matter of fact, this data we're working with is Syteline on-prem. But yeah, it'll work with CSI in the cloud, Syteline prem. It can even work with a combination of data. So if you've got an environment where you've got, Syteline 6 on-prem and CSI in the cloud, you can combine that data together to generate consolidated sales across all those environments. Okay, so went out there, generated. I'm going to click this little plus sign to help me spot what's been changed. So you see again, the red, it removed, item in that description, changed it to customer, and it's doing it by customer name rather than item. So I say, that looks good. I'm going to click run. System goes out there, runs the report. So again, now I'm looking at over here in the right-hand part of the screen, I'm looking at my customers and backlog and quantity. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on quantity. I'm just going to hit my delete button. I don't want to see quantity. I just want to see extended value. And now I'm going to say to my AI engine, okay, show me the top 10 customers. We'll say customer name, names in a bar chart, something like that. Okay, click enter. And again, I'm just talking English, or what I call English, into the system to generate the query. Again, so the AI engine goes off and grabs my query. And again, because of the dictionary, it knows about things like customer name or bill to customer name or, top level items or whatever it might be. So again, because of the combination of the Cyberquery 4GL and the dictionary, it really brings a lot of power to the users who don't care about anything like that. They just want to be able to go in and say, show me revenue by month or show me, sales by customer. Again, the system's going to figure that out for us. And in this case, it's going to go out there. It's going to build a bar chart. If I click that plus and minus sign again, you can see it's converted to a bar using a plot. And we're doing top 10 customers. I'm going to say run. And here's that data now being displayed as a bar chart. And again, we can come in here and we can add links so that people can click and drill down, just whatever the case might be. So, with that being said, um, uh, I've asked Connell to maybe show us a little more uh, technical or maybe more complex report using AI.
All right. So this is my Cyberquery environment. It's actually the same as what Jim was showing. Like Jim mentioned, I'm going to be given a demo of the AI assistant. This will be a little bit more in depth, or at least a longer example than what Jim had shown. So we can start in on that. To begin with, I'm going to ask the AI to tell me a bit about our database. Which tables should I use to find our top 10 customers? I should point out that we do also have a microphone option. People can just speak and that'll get turned into text. That's done through the browser. I prefer typing, so I'm going to be doing my examples through text, but you can use this microphone if people prefer speaking. So tell me about our database. Which table should I use to find our top 10 customers? Let's go ahead and run this. This is a very general prompt, so I'm not giving the AI really much to go off of. What criteria should it be using to pick our top 10 customers? I haven't told it that, so it's got to make some guesses, and it's going to tell us about our database here. I like this example because it shows the assistant's understanding of our database. And this is again the understanding that it gets from our data dictionary, which describes all of the tables and all of the fields and how all of those tables and fields relate to each other. So this was a good response, but we can narrow in a little bit more by giving it a more specific question. So what table would I use if I want to go down to the invoice line item level? So you can also ask the assistant about, the Cyberquery language itself, that 4GL English readable language or code language that Cyberquery is built on and how we build all of our queries. But I have found that most people are more confused about just how their database itself is structured. So we have something called a domain table when you're writing a query in Cyberquery, and that's kind of the focus of what you want your report to be based off of. And a lot of people have trouble finding or picking their domain table. So you can hopefully see how the AI's understanding of your database will help you to pick those domain tables and write these queries. So now I have a good idea of what kind of table I want if I want to be able to pick our top 10 customers and go down to the invoice line item level. But really, I don't want to create this query myself. It's great that the AI has given me this information and helped me start the process. But what if I want it to actually create the query for me? So let's go ahead and try and get it to do that. I'm going to say, all right, show me our top 10 all-time customers using total revenue from the invoice line item level. Give me pest ID and address name. So a lot of information in this request. I want the top 10 all-time customers using total revenue from the invoice line item level. And in this report, I want it to give me customer ID and the address name. What's really nice is that the AI is going to go out and it's actually going to build a query to run against my database to return an answer. So it's not going to try and make an assumption and just give me a response. It's not going to say, Bob, Dave, and Jim are your top three customers without anything to back that up. I have the actual code and I can run this against the database. So the results will be entirely repeatable. And I have the actual code and logic for how it's getting this answer. So here are my top 10 customers by total invoice line item revenue. And we can build on this report a little bit. So this was great. It's very rare that someone actually cares about all time information though. We're really more operating on maybe a month-to-month basis or even a yearly basis, but very rarely all time. So I'm going to say good. Now, instead of all time customers, show me our top 10 customers for each month, broken down by year and then month. Looks like I did a decent job typing here. You might notice in some of my other prompts, I will have spelling errors. I will have grammatical issues. I'm just typing this live. The AI does do a fantastic job of catching syntax and grammatical errors. So those aren't things that I'm too concerned about, really. The syntax or the context of my prompts will give it enough to go off of to correct those kinds of small errors. It's given me a bunch of context about the query that it's going to build, and then it starts building. Here I just asked for an update to the original query. So if I run this, it should show me the top 10 by month rather than all time. So that looks great. It's breaking it down by year and then month and then showing top 10 within each month. This is a demo database, so we don't have a whole lot of order information. Don't have necessarily 10 orders or 10 customers that placed orders within each month. But like Jim mentioned, if I toggle this option, you can see that this was indeed just an edit to the previous query that it built for me. So it's not starting from scratch. It's not going to forget all of the things that I asked for and any changes that I might have made manually. It's just going to read how the report currently looks and make the changes that I want. So it's a really nice iterative way to build reports here and get more complex as you go. So now we've broken this down by year and then month. Let's go ahead and have it update all of the column headings. I don't like that this is invoice date and so is month. I'd really rather this was year and month. Customer number could also be a little cleaner. It looks like for total revenue, it picked a nice format. I'd kind of like it to match that format for all of these column headings. And then I also want subtotals by each month. I think that this would look a lot cleaner with subtotals. So let's try and have it do that all for me here. And I'm going to do it very generally. I don't want to, specifically tell it how to do all of these column headings. I'm just going to say update all of the column headings and add month subtotals. So I can prompt multiple things at once. And I can allow the assistant to actually use its own judgment as far as what these column headings should be updated to, which of the column headings should be updated. I'm just saying update all of them. Make these all look good and use your judgment to decide what that should be. It's always a balancing game with AI assistants. How much do you want it to go out and do its own creative thinking versus how much do you want to just listen to what you've asked? You'll notice I am not clicking over to summary anywhere. I'm one of our consultants here, and I really enjoy looking at the Cyberquery language. I think it gives much more insight into the logic that the assistant's using. So I'm just going to live in query this whole time. If I click here, I can see the changes. It's updated all of my column headings. Let's go ahead and run this and see what it looks like. Very good. So we've got clean column headings. It updated the year, month. The capitalization is all cleaned up. And then we've also got our subtotals. So it's done everything that I asked it to do here. let's make one more change to this report, and then we can go on to kind of the second half of this demo. So this change is just going to be formatting, and I'm going to say, make this an HTML report and let me collapse on month. You do have to be a little bit familiar with Cyberquery to understand what this prompt is asking. If I run the report, then you'll be able to see what I mean though. So an HTML report is a specific file type output that Cyberquery supports that lets me do some very interesting things as far as formatting. So I believe Jim actually did show this collapse and expand function in his demo, and we'll get to see that again in a moment here. But it's a very rudimentary form of what a lot of people call drill downs, to where you can, focus into a higher level of detail on your report. Here, I want to just see a simplified report with just month totals, but I want to be able to focus in or drill down on each month to see all of this customer information. It's given me an updated query, so I'm going to go ahead and run that. And here's that collapse and expand function that I was talking about. So each month I can drill in to see all the individual customers that made up that monthly total. So this is looking very good. This is close to what I would use as a production report. There are still some little cleanup and formatting things that I would do. The last thing I'm going to do on this report before moving on to the second half is I'm going to say, let me pick the years I want when I run this. So right now it's only showing information for 2017 and 2018. That's because that's the only information that we have in our database. Again, it's a demo environment, so those are the only 2 years that we have information for. In a live environment, you would have information for a lot more than 2 years though. So users would really want to be able to request the specific years that they're interested in when they run the report. In Cyberquery, we call this a runtime parameter. And you would have to know how to define a runtime parameter, how to use it in a where clause, if you wanted to build this manually. But if I toggle here, you can see that the assistant has gone in, it's defined my runtime parameter for me, it's added that to the where clause, and it's updated the report to use that. So if I run this now, I'll be prompted for what years I'm interested in. And if I type 2018 and run the report, you can see now I only get results for that year. Again, I have the collapse and expand functionality that looks very nice, but I'm only seeing information for 2018. So this is very good. This is where I want to leave this report for now. But what if we want to go down even more detailed? So instead of just the total revenue for each customer by month, what if I want to know the individual invoices or even the individual invoice line items that went into this total? So I'm going to go ahead and look at that. I'm going to go to Tools, clone this Cyberquery session. And now this has just opened a new tab in my browser. If I click back to the old tab, you can see I have this query that we just built still up. But I'm going to create an entirely new query here in this new tab. I don't need to use any of the information that was cloned from that previous query. I'm just going to start a new one entirely. So no, don't save changes. We're going to be focused again on the assistant. And this time I'm going to start off by asking it to build a query from the start. So instead of asking questions about the database, I'm just going to ask for a query. List all of the invoice line items for a user specified cust adder name, year, and month. And I'm saying cust adder name for a specific reason. If I click over to my previous report, you'll notice that we're using here in this where clause, sorry, down here, our customer name is coming from customer address. So I want to be sure that I'm matching that for the second report, and you'll all see why I'm doing that later on. I just want to give some explanation of why I'm saying cust adder name. I know that we don't have any starting points fitting exactly what I want here, so I'm going to create a new query from scratch. It will give some context about the query that it tries to generate, and then it'll actually generate that query. And I should also mention, this morning, our AI assistant is still in development. We are looking for people to partner with us to do the trial run, some beta testers, but this is not out for general release. And we did have a hiccup this morning on the Google Gemini side. Ours is not an open Google Gemini, so it does have a level of resilience that, most Gemini services don't. But even ours, which is locally trained and custom to our solution, did have some issues this morning. So if we run into anything, that is the nature of a demo. It's returned our result here. So I'm going to run this and we can see what it looks like. I'm going to click on this drop down, and Cyberquery is actually going to use what's called active help to go out there and find all of the possible customer names that I have in my database. So here we are. I'm going to go down and pick North. You can do the same for year. And now we want to see the invoice line item for this customer, year and month. So this customer, we have the invoice date, we have the invoice number, we have the line number, the item that was on that line, quantity, price, and cost. This is a great start. It doesn't look too good though, so we're going to do some cleanup. I'm going to say add site labels, clean up the column headings, and add an extended price column. So again, multiple things at once here. I'm adding site because in our demo database here, we have 3 different sites. I have found that this demo environment actually duplicated orders out across those 3 sites. So this report makes much more sense if I include site labels. I'm also definitely going to clean up the report headings. I don't want to do that manually. I don't want to click into all of these manually. So I'll just have it do that for me all at once. And then I also want an extended price column. Not too many people care about the individual price or item price for line items. We care about how much the total value of each line item was. So it gives a bunch of context about the update that it's going to make. Wow, quite a lot of context for this one.
And Connell, while this is thinking about it, there were a couple of questions that came in. One asked us to explain how we pick up the custom fields for a given site. So let me just answer that quickly. That Cyberquery data dictionary we've been talking about, that gets built at your location. So we've got tools that'll build that, and whether it's picking up information out of the CSI IDOs or the local tables, we pick up all the custom tables, custom fields in that dictionary, and then the AI engine knows about your Cyberquery dictionary. So again, custom fields, custom tables are all going to be part of your CQ AI environment. The other question that came in is just about availability. So the question is, how soon is this available? So the plan is that we're going to make the CQ AI engine available to customers next month. So here, really, in a couple of days, coming May, it's going to be available to other customers. It's going to be a few months after that. So that's kind of the plan. We had one question come in about, where's the Google Gemini hosted? It's in the Google Cloud, And I think we're actually using a copy right now out of the UK. So,
Thank you,
okay, with
Jim.
that,
So
I'll turn it back to you, Connell.
yeah, so this prompt is having some trouble here. Like I said, we just reverted to a different version of our Gemini, uh, which is locally very custom trained for us. They were having issues hosting this morning, so we had to revert to a previous version. This previous version seems to be having some trouble. So I'm going to interrupt this prompt and we can try again. I'm going to try this exact same prompt one more time. If it doesn't work, then we'll move on from it
Okay.
and
And Connell,
update the
again, while
rest
it's
of this.
doing that, another question did just come in, and I think this is where you're heading. But can the AI be asked to add links and drill downs? So the answer to that is yes. As a matter of fact, Connell's kind of headed that direction. So you can go to the AI and said add a link on this particular field or column and call XYZ report. And so yeah, this AI engine is super powerful, and there's really not a lot that it cannot do.
So thank you, Jim. Just to pick back up, the AI assistant has come back with a query respondent to my prompt here. It's added our site reference. I want labels for our site. I also asked it to clean up our column headings and add an extended price column. So we have our site label added. Looks like the column headings have been cleaned up. These used to have a bunch of full capitalization. And then we should also have an extended price column, which we do. Very good. Now, a couple more changes for this report. I'm going to say, please add the user's parameters to the top of the report. That way, whoever looks at the report output knows what customer, what year, and what month were selected. And so I don't want to say that the AI assistant will get everything correct perfectly. This issue that we ran into up here, I do expect will be resolved. That is very much we are still developing this issue. But for very complex queries, an understanding of your environment is still necessary. A human touch can be needed. This is a fantastic tool for building queries, getting them started, getting a structure, and even making small adjustments. But if you have a whole dashboard that's going to involve 10 different reports and then combining them, there will need to be some level of human understanding to make all that work. So I'm going to run this report. We've just added the customer name, year, and month to the top of the report so that people can see what this looks like. That's very good. I do want this sorted by site though. So I'm going to say sort this by site. So we have these site labels on the left. It would be much nicer if I saw all of the Dallas sites together and all of the LA sites together, and all of the London. And then we'll also do a couple more formatting changes on this report. But like Jim alluded to, what we're doing here is we're getting the individual invoice line items that went into these totals. And what I'm going to be doing once we're done with this report is actually linking them together so that you can drill down on these total revenue values and see the invoice line items that went into those. We have our updated report. Let's run this. We're now sorting by site, so it's done that correctly. Very good. The last thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to say, well, first, I'm in Cyberquery, so I can just click and drag things if I want to rearrange. I'm not going to have the AI do this. It's quicker for me to just drag and drop customer to the left of site. And then I'm going to say hide duplicates for custom name, site, and invoice. show duplicates for everything else. So here it's repeating itself. We've got customer name, Coordinated Bicycles North repeated 3 times. Those are duplicates, so I don't need those being shown. We also have a couple dates that are being hidden. I don't really want these hidden. Right now they're being hidden because they're duplicates, but I want those shown. So I'm going to have the AI go ahead and update all of my duplicate settings for all of the columns at once so that I don't have to go in and set them individually. Gives context about what it's doing.
And Connell, while it's doing that, we've had some other great questions come in. Let me interrupt you, or maybe go
I
ahead and
don't,
run this report, and then I'll go through those questions.
that would be great if we could power through. We're very near the end here, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got customer name, we've got our sites, we've got our duplicates showing. Now the next thing that I want is, well, I can do this manually. Our extended price, I'm just going to go into item properties. I'm going to set that as USD so that it looks a little bit nicer for us. And this is what I like about Cyberquery is I can quickly hop between my various editing options. There I just use the visual editor to just use my menu options and change this. I could have also done it in Assistant, but here it was quicker with the menu. So I'm going to go ahead and save this query. This is my detailed report now. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to call it customer order details. It's going to say that I already have one in my environment. And now I can come back to my previous report. And I want to add that link that I was talking about. So I have a prompt all built to create that link. I'm just going to go ahead and drop that in and we can discuss what it's saying. So I want to add a link going to this customer order details report. That's the one that we just built, which I can click over to. That's this report. This is the customer order details query. I want to add that link to the total revenue column. And I want that link to give this report all of the customer information. So the customer name, the year, and the month, which if we remember are the 3 parameters that we prompt users for when they run this report. So I want the first report to actually pass those parameters to the second so that we don't have to fill those in. That can be a little bit confusing, but it'll make more sense when we see the query fully built and this link added.
Okay. Hey, so Connell, while it's building this new version of the report, let me answer some of these questions. So the first question was, are the user queries, not the prompts, saved in a scratch file that the user can access later? So yes, that history over on the far left uh, controls all those queries that you can use and reuse. This next question is really an important one. It says, what if I don't want to send all the data, all my info in the database to the LLM, the large language model? Can I get it trained on data run locally? Again, that gets back to the security. With this environment, you don't have to share any of your actual data with the LLM. Uh, Cyberquery generates the language or generates the report, and then it executes it locally. So, you know, Gemini does not see all your data. So that's an important one. I want to make sure we get answered. Here's a third one. How is the usage metered? Uh, Basically, we can control, how many tokens, a user is going to have, and we're kind of using our beta testing partners to figure out, what's a reasonable amount. So, uh, yes, that can be metered. Okay, sorry, Kyle, I'll go back.
All righty. So I did run into an issue while Jim was talking there. This query was not running from the chat prompt, but I ran it using my running man up here. And this is the output that we got. So we have the results for 2018 collapsed by each month. And then we have a link over here on the right-hand side, which will go down to our detail report that has the individual invoice line items for each of these values. So if I click on this one, you can see here that total value of 300,031. And if I hit back on my browser instead of clicking between sheets, you can see that value is what we selected. So one last thing to make this just look pretty, I can right click here, come to, well, I need to be in my report editor rather than the paintbrush. It looks like it needs unhappy running in the visual editor. So that's what it was there. Well, I was just going to format this last column into currency, but we will skip that. It is just formatting. So it's very easy to add, but the assistant right now, again, this isn't a demo environment, is having issues putting this into the visual editor. So I'm going to leave this example here. We have our main summary report, and then we can drill down to the detail report just to verify that value and see all of the individual line items that actually went into that value. I'm going to leave it here. Jim?
Yeah, if you want to stop sharing, Connell,
Yeah.
and I'll jump back and share on my screen. And we will go back here. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoints, and we'll kind of pick it up right there. So that live demo. So I want to just wrap up with what we call the CQ test drive. Because again, if you like what you see, just let me know. We'll send you a free evaluation copy of the software, help you configure it, build some proof of concept reports, and then basically go away, let you play with it. If you like it, keep it. If you don't like it, send it back to us, all at no cost. Again, if you don't mind, please fill out the survey that you'll see at the end of this webinar and let us know if this information was valuable to you. And if you'd like a copy of the PowerPoint slides or a link to the recording or that evaluation copy of Cyberquery, for the Cyberquery customers on this call, again, let me know if you want to be part of the beta program, and we'll get everything coming your way. But thanks again, everybody, for attending, and look forward to working with you. So thanks a lot.